Every 4 years, the World Cup ends, and then, before the confetti has even settled, football loses its mind completely. Players want moves, clubs want statements, agents want commissions, and the summer of 2026, coming off the biggest World Cup in history, hosted across 3 countries, with every chairman and every director watching every player. This one is going to be different. This is another football day. And these are the 10 transfers that could break football this summer. Some of these are already being negotiated in hotel lobbies right now. Some are so bold they sound irresponsible to say out loud. All of them, if they happen, will change the sport. Let's go. Sandro Tonali went to Newcastle under the shadow of a betting ban and came back as their captain, their heartbeat, one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. And now Juventus, his homeland, his people, the club that has wanted him for 2 straight windows, are coming for him with everything they have. The fee sits somewhere between 70 and 80 million euros. Juventus believe they can raise it. Newcastle's biggest fear is another Isak situation, a player who loves the club, respects the fans, but eventually cannot resist the call of something bigger. For Tonali, that something is Italy. That something is Turin. Newcastle built their midfield around this man. Losing him would hurt like very few transfers can.
Brilliant block, still not away, now they're back in it. Offside, I think. The flag has gone up.
Mohamed Salah's departure leaves a hole at Liverpool that no ordinary signing can fill. Bradley Barcola is not an ordinary signing. 22 years old, PSG starter, Champions League regular, France international, and a player whose acceleration makes defenders look like they forgot to warm up. Liverpool have been tracking him for months. PSG don't want to sell, but the World Cup changes everything. If Barcola emerges as one of the players of the tournament, and he very well might, every club on earth will be calling. Liverpool want to be the ones who answer first. Anfield has been waiting for its next winger. This could be him. After lifting the Carabao Cup, Bruno Guimaraes stood on the pitch at Wembley and said something that stayed with Newcastle fans. That when he eventually leaves, he wants them to sing his name the way they sing Alan Shearer's. The language of a man who knows somewhere that the goodbye is coming. Chelsea are preparing an opening offer of around 75 million euros. Manchester United are in advanced talks. Real Madrid are watching from a distance. The captain of Newcastle, one of the 3 best midfielders in world football, is entering the final 2 years of his contract. The question is not whether clubs want him. Everybody wants him. The question is whether he can bring himself to go, and whether Newcastle can bring themselves to let him. Chelsea paid over £100 million for Enzo Fernandez. He has been brilliant. He has been their best player. And apparently, according to reports that broke this week, he wants out. Not because Chelsea treated him badly, but because he wants to win things, big things. Now, PSG are preparing an offer of 150 million euros. 150 million euros for a central midfielder. If this happens, it becomes one of the defining transfer stories of the decade. A World Cup winner leaving the club that spent a fortune on him to join the club that plays in the city he seems to love most. The audacity of it is almost beautiful. Arsenal have been one moment away from everything for 2 years. The striker, the winger, the final piece. It has become a running joke that stopped being funny a long time ago. Preliminary talks with Lyon's camp have already happened. AC Milan finally seem ready to accept reality. Lyon to the Emirates, electric, unpredictable, infuriating, magnificent, gives Arsenal something they have never quite had. A player capable of deciding a game entirely by himself in 30 seconds. Arteta has been patient. He has built something extraordinary around the absence of that player. Imagine what he builds when the player finally arrives. The Ballon d'Or winner. And his agent is sitting in a room in Madrid with Manchester City's sporting director, Hugo Viana. Officially, it was nothing, just a meeting, a coincidence. Except Dembélé was asked about it directly and said in his exact words, "I'm not the one making decisions." That is not a denial. That is a man telling you something without telling you something. PSG's contract extension talks are stalling. City have needed a generational winger for 2 seasons. The World Cup ends, Dembélé plays out of his skin for France, and suddenly that Madrid meeting stops looking like nothing and starts looking like everything.
Xavi Simons won the penalty and has just about snuck it into the corner.
After one season at Tottenham that reminded everyone why the Premier League is not always the right home for a certain kind of footballer, Xavi Simons wants a new chapter. And Bayern Munich, who have watched him develop from a PSG teenager into one of Europe's most complete attacking midfielders, are ready to write it with him. A Dutch master going to Bavaria, the Bundesliga has been waiting for him. And at 23 years old, he is still only getting started. The World Cup, played on his doorstep in North America, could be the moment that makes this move not just likely, but inevitable. Some players need the right stage to show who they really are. Bayern is that stage. Here it is, the one that will break the internet, Jude Bellingham, Real Madrid's English prince, the player who scored that bicycle kick in the Champions League final, coming home to Old Trafford, under new ownership with a new project. The weight of the most famous club in the world finally demanding to be taken seriously again. Real Madrid would not sell, obviously, unless the offer is somewhere north of 200 million euros. There is one club that might be willing to spend that number, and there is one player whose return to England would make the Premier League feel like the absolute center of the universe again. The World Cup will decide it. If Bellingham is the best player at the tournament, and he very well might be, that price goes in one direction only, and United will still pay it. Barcelona need a striker. Everyone knows it. Every analyst has said it. Thierry Henry said it on live television and looked mildly frustrated doing so. Lamine Yamal's passes deserve a finisher who can actually put them away. Victor Osimhen, back in Europe after Galatasaray, dangerous, hungry, 26 years old, and with the biggest chip on his shoulder in world football, is on their list. The problem is always the money with Barcelona, the fee, the wages, the financial fair play calculations that keep Deco awake at 3 in the morning. But if they find a way, and Barcelona have an extraordinary, almost supernatural talent for finding ways, Osimhen feeding off Yamal and Pedri in the new Camp Nou at the peak of his powers is the most frightening attacking combination in world football. Full stop.
And Stanisic was up there, and that's a tragic goal from Olise!
Florentino Perez is preparing an offer of up to 160 million. Bayern Munich say he is not for sale. Bayern Munich said that about Lewandowski. They said it about Robin. They said it about Ribéry. And yet, Olise is 24 years old, 16 goals, 27 assists, a season that has made every other winger on the planet look slightly ordinary by comparison. 10 transfers, 10 stories waiting to be written. Some of these will happen exactly like this. Some will fall apart at the last second, on a medical, on a contract clause, on a player who changes his mind on a Tuesday morning. And at least one transfer this summer will come out of absolutely nowhere and make every single one of these look small. Because that is what the summer window does. It takes everything you thought you knew about football and reorganizes it overnight. The World Cup ends in July. The phones start ringing on the 8th of July. And somewhere, right now, in a hotel lobby or a midnight WhatsApp between 2 agents who don't want to be seen together, the deals are already being made. We will see you when the dust settles. This was another football day.